I am talking to Nicole Jorwic, Chief Program Officer at Caring Across Generations, a nonprofit advocacy group. How are you, Nicole? And what is Caring Across Generation?
I'm doing, I was gonna say good, but really only okay because of what we're
Right.
gonna talk about today. And Caring Across Generations is a nonprofit organization that's working on building a movement of family caregivers, disabled and aging adults who need care, and care workers to build the care systems that everybody deserves.
That's a great mission, and we appreciate you joining us today. You tweeted, quote, "It's a shame that GOP members were so weak when their constituents were clear that they don't support cuts to Medicaid." Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was really frustrating to see what happened last night with the budget resolution passing. While it is only step one and we have a lot of opportunities to stop them, it was really disappointing because we have been having a lot of conversations in Washington, D.C. with those same legislators, including the ones that flipped their votes, um, talking to them about the amount of Medicaid beneficiaries that they have in their districts.
Yeah.
And it did seem like they understood that. And we also know that just yesterday for the Medicaid call-in day, 10,000 calls were sent to Congress, plus thousands of messages, emails, tweets. And so all that pressure, and they tried to just hide behind the fact that this is just a step in the process and Medicaid isn't even in the bill. But the reality is that there's no way that if this budget resolution becomes legislative text and then the law, that Medicaid wouldn't be just decimated.
It seems to me that Trump and Johnson twisted an awful lot of arms, especially with the moderates saying this is this is a first vote, like you just said,
Yeah.
just put us on record, but it's a real cop out. I wanted to go over a few of those, review a few of those members of Congress. Nick Begich in Alaska has 41,000 Medicaid patients or that would lose care. I'm sorry, 41,000 Alaskans would lose care under the resolution he just voted for. David Valado in
Hmm.
California, 67,000 patients would lose care. Gabe Evans in Colorado, 43,000. I mean, so they really decided screw their constituents.
Yeah, I mean it's truly baffling. All of these folks that you're mentioning, plus others, like Rep. Davidson in Ohio and
Mhm.
the Indiana Congresswoman, reversed themselves by saying that they got assurances from President Trump that healthcare wouldn't be removed from people. And that's just completely the antithesis of reality. There is no way to gut a program with that much money. So we're
Right,
talking about almost $1 trillion
right.
that wouldn't strip healthcare away from people and also strip aging and disability care, home and community-based care away from millions of seniors and disabled people. And so they can say that they got whatever assurances and, Speaker Johnson was pulling people into the cloakroom and all of that. Whatever those assurances are about as valuable as what President Trump said just a couple weeks ago about loving and cherishing Medicaid.
Or
You
is
can't
really
love and cherish a program when you're gutting it.
right, or is really as valuable as anything he ever says.
Yeah, true.
So people tend to think it's a program just for low income and poor people. They may have misperceptions about who is on Medicaid. Center for Economic and Policy Research put out a graph recently that said 40% of Medicaid beneficiaries are white, 30% are Hispanic, 18% Black, 12% other. So I think maybe people don't realize that these cuts could hurt them, their families, their neighbors, their parents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everybody really needs to be thinking about people in their lives because I guarantee that there are people in their lives that are supported by Medicaid. Whether it was somebody who had a baby and that birth was covered by Medicaid, whether it's somebody who's getting I'm with my 90-year-old grandparents, someone getting home health care, that's covered by Medicaid. And also, there's also been a lot of conversations about who is deserving of these supports or that people should be working. Well, 92% of Medicaid beneficiaries are working
Right.
because of the low wages in so many jobs. There are so many people and family caregivers who are receive Medicaid as their health insurance because of the care they're providing, they can't work. Those are all of the people who are at risk of losing health care and will not that they will not have another option. And all of this in the name of this like waste, fraud, and abuse, when also my good friends at the National Health Law Program just put out a great paper today that shows how lean of a program Medicaid is.
Right.
There is no waste, fraud, and abuse. So with these cuts, it's going to shift costs to the states and it's going to cost people their coverage.
And it's kind of like the lies that Musk and Trump are telling about the Social Security Administration, saying there's massive fraud when improper payments are under 1% of all the money they ever pay out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Again, these things that their statements don't match the reality of the program. And it's also there's all of these conversations about able-bodied and people who shouldn't be getting these supports.
Right.
Why should we be making people sicker in order to receive health care? It just doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense. So, and by the way, I'll point out that 71% of Trump voters oppose Medicaid cuts, according to a new survey. How galling is it that they're doing all this to give the wealthy another tax cut?
It's beyond infuriating that they're trying to do this reverse Robin Hood situation where
Mhm.
they're literally trying to take from these family caregivers, disabled people, aging adults, low income people to give tax breaks to the rich. It is the antithesis of what we should be doing. It's the antithesis of what the government should be doing. They cannot steal the money away from Medicaid to literally put it into the pockets of billionaires and wealthy corporations. It is not what people voted for. And to your point, it's not what even Trump voters voted for. This is not what they want. 71% of people do not support these cuts. And frankly, I'm sure we would get to an even higher number if people really understood what these cuts mean.
These are great insights, Nicole. And I just want to close by asking you, how do we fight back? How do we continue to fight back? As you said, this is only the first step. It's a budget resolution. It doesn't have the power of law or the force of law, but it's the first step on a slippery slope.
It is the first step on a slippery slope, which is why we need to remind people and hold people accountable who did flip or and who just voted yes, because they have to know that this is not okay. But also there are still a lot of opportunities. And so what we need to be doing is to show the full breadth of the program. People need to be sharing their stories about the way that Medicaid coverage helps their lives and sharing those with their family members so that we can have more people contacting their representatives, sharing videos, sharing photos, sharing stories, so that those faces have to be on the minds of those people when they're voting once we actually have legislative text. So they pass the container, they pass the budget resolution, but now they can't hide anymore and say that they don't know that these Medicaid cuts are in there because it's going to be in black and white in legislative text. And so when they're voting on that legislative text, we need to have all of those folks, all of those family members, all those disabled people, older people on the minds of Republican legislators, and also because we're going to hold them accountable if they keep making these poor choices for the people who voted them into office.
And we probably only have a few months before it's too late. So please, everyone, heed what Nicole is saying. Listen to what we're saying. Contact your member of Congress and tell them hands off Medicaid. And one more thing, follow Nicole on Twitter because her feed is hella good.
Thank you, Walter. So nice talking to you. And I do believe that we can win. We fought against these massive cuts in 2017.
Yes.
We can do it again by joining together and again, just sharing our stories and making and holding them accountable to their votes.
Amen. Excellent point. Well, thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Walter.